You are about to enter a world of impossibilities. It is a dimension of contradictions, of inconsistencies. It is a realm where the very bedrock of logic has eroded, the foundation giving way into the yawning maw of the unknown, into unmitigated terror, into man's greatest fears. Collected here for your consideration, your introspection, are tales of woe, tales of madness, tragedies whose concerns are the foibles of man. They are depictions of his agony. Every day a new horror, each in turn shorn from the mind of a different member of our fine community, from the Foundation's original architects to those who have only recently joined our ranks. Each file represents a different fear, a unique phobia. Phobias are defined by their irrationality and their persistence despite reason and understanding. They are a disruptive force in one's life, but can be made manageable through exposure. Through confrontation, they can be overcome. Through adversity, one is made strong. We welcome you now into the nexus of disparity. We welcome you to the borderless confines. Submitted for your approval, Mr. George Ambrose, researcher, wayfinder, interrogator. In an unassuming residence in the very heart of the Pine Barrens, Mr. Ambrose will find himself with the most arduous of tasks, to probe the mind of a being who holds dominion over consciousness itself, an entity to whom one's most private thoughts are laid bare. In a moment, Mr. Ambrose will walk through the door of an unassuming residence, and into the belly of the beast. A beast whose den is made in the borderless confines.
In meticulous isolation in the middle of the forests of New Jersey, lies SCP-8596-1, a former Foundation agent with disturbingly intimate abilities, being an empathic and telepathic reality manipulator capable of shaping reality at will. His gift, or curse, allows him to read expressions beyond the perceptible, track memories in real time, and manipulate them with chilling precision. The following story explores the psychological terror that comes from not knowing when you are being watched, and how much of our mind can be altered without us knowing. Let's get ready to enter a narrative where the barriers between the real and the constructed are as fragile as they are fearsome. 8596 is contained in a remote house in the Pine Barrens of New Jersey. Twice a year, a member of the Site-322 staff must travel to this place and conduct an interview. This person must carry the following with them at all times: netic pills, taken once every hour when near 8596, non-lethal weaponry, standard body camera, and 8596 documents. He is equipped with a locked mechanical collar that houses two small Scranton reality anchors. This collar is monitored and controlled remotely by the site surveillance console. If he takes off this collar, the personnel should activate the panic button on his body camera, try to peacefully exit the containment chamber and return to the base. He must entertain himself in conversation as long as this collar remains on. As a former Foundation staff member, a cordial level of familiarity is expected for your comfort in conversation. All interviews must lead assigned personnel to question what SCP-8596 is. On rare occasions, it will initiate a conversation about 8596. After this line of discussion is over, the assigned personnel should politely apologize and leave the containment chamber. SCP-8596-1 is a humanoid entity identified as Dr. Eric Ramsey. He was initially held in anomalous containment of Site-322 before being employed as a Foundation interrogator as part of the integration program. Eric Ramsey is a Class 3 reality manipulator, enhanced empath and telepath capable of altering localized reality at will. He can read minute expressions, physiological changes and physical processes of any subject that interacts with him. Although limited, Ramsey's telepathy allows him to view a subject's memories in real time, meticulously taking notes as he does so. After an incident related to his integration into Site-322, it was discovered that the doctor could delete and implant his subject's memories at will, although he cannot read the memories directly. As a result of this and negotiations with the Site-322 administration, SCP-8596-1 was moved to its containment chamber in the Pain Barrens, a house built with its reality warping capabilities. Investigator Jorg Ambrose was assigned to interview 8596 at his semi-permanent containment site, an isolated house in Pain Barrens, New Jersey. This interview took place on October 13, 2024, as part of the semi-annual Site-322 protocol. Ambrose entered equipped with amnestic placebo, body camera and the relevant documentation of the case. I have a pot roast in the oven. It should be done in 5. Ambrose grabs a chair and sits down by the fireplace. He shudders as he takes off his gloves before holding his hands up to the logs. I've been having trouble getting this up and running. Ambrose grabs a nearby bottle of lighter fluid and sprays the logs. Shakily clutching a lighter he brought, he fails to create a spark. In the third movement, the lighter is lit, and Ambrose touches the flame with the logs and sits back in his seat. Ambrose, I just need a minute, Eric. Can you still call me that? It's encouraging. For relationship. I see. However. Eric stands up and moves towards the oven. I think the roast is ready. Do you mind eating? I am not hungry. How long was the trip? 26 hours. Eric takes out the roast, tastes it and places it on the counter. You're hungry. And if they told you not to take anything from me, imagine what eating with me would do for our relationship. Ambrose puts a Neesic pill in his mouth. Ambrose and Ramsey sit opposite each other, eating in silence. Ambrose pulls out a sheet of paper and a pen from his pocket. Can we get started? Talk? I'd love to. Just a moment. Eric moves to a liquor cabinet. Take a bottle of bourbon along with 2 glasses out of the freezer. He pours himself and Ambrose a drink. Ambrose doesn't touch it. Ambrose asks for the name of 8596. Name? You know my name. Eric holds his drink in the air, signaling a greeting. Ambrose ignores the request. After a moment, Eric takes his drink and pours himself another. It's to make sure you still know your name. Age? 64. Have you had any violent thoughts lately? Why are you here? To do this interview. You know, Director Lage came here not so long ago. Apparently, he almost destroyed the site with a machine he ordered. Before him was Dr. Mooney, accused of embezzlement with that gum machine they insist on helping the site. And before that there was Julian after some creature got loose in his section. You were not sent here on your merits, even with this necklace on, I can tell. Take out the shortest straw. Am I that unattractive? Ambrose is silent. What did they tell you? That you've gone crazy. That's an indirect way of putting it, but for sure. Do you want to have a conversation? For sure. Why don't you tell me what happened? Have you had the pleasure of meeting the former member, Leandra Pollock? Between the Ambrose researcher and 8596, Dr. Eric Ramsey briefly introduces a note from the Ethics Committee about Dr. Leandra Pollock. The document identifies her as accused of having facilitated the death of a researcher, Ted Franklin, after a nervous breakdown. Attempting to dispose of the body contaminated with anomalous material, contrary to Containment Department guidelines, threatening security personnel with an SCP to erase the audiovisual evidence of the incident. Forcing these personnel to ingest unprocessed amnestics, causing permanent damage to their memory. And finally, to desert his post. These charges pose a clear violation of the Foundation's ethical and security protocols. However, immediately afterwards a devastating revelation occurs. Eric admits to having falsely implanted those memories in Pollock in order to incriminate her. This shows that the real purpose of the committee's report was not simply to register ethical lapses, but to be part of a premeditated and Machiavellian manipulation. My abilities, as cliched as it sounds, are a blessing and a curse. He could look around a bar and figure out which woman he had a chance to take home just by the contraction of some muscle in her face or the way her eyes dilated in the light. He was not an integrated employee. Integrated for no reason. I never denied that. The curse of my whole ordeal is just that, I know people too well. I read that report that the ethics committee gave me and I knew that it would have been finished before that date. Someone had it for her. Just by reading that, I knew. Even with the necklace, I still see it. The interrogation chamber has been altered by Ramsey, appearing to be Leandra Pollock's office. To be honest with you, I didn't like Ted at all. Pollock is silent. One thing I've always disliked about this site, it's not that I know any of the others, it's just a bit lax here. Pollock, I guess. I enjoy the professionalism. Even though I'm forced to do this with you, I take it seriously. It's a job. I take my job seriously. That was not the implication I was aiming for. Paul is more than willing to stick a real problem on Dr. Coix's desk while he's going to contain anomalies. Funny, like kids do with Pokemon. Eric squints at Pollock. Does he remind you of anyone? Ted was a character. He focused on submolecular studies. I was tasked with creating a way to destroy something efficiently from the atomic level. I wanted to facilitate their removal of anomalous material. Was it ever finished? I put it on the back burner. I understand the pressure you're under. What does that mean? Eric snaps his fingers and the security cameras in the room disappear. Only the audio is available. Would you say this has taken the pressure off? I would. I need you to work with me, and I can take the pressure off even more. The microphone on your chest doesn't help much there. For once, someone read my mind. Eric turns off his microphone. 30 minutes pass, the cameras and microphones are reactivated. Pollock is lying on the floor, crying, while Eric comforts her. Eric nods to one of the cameras before security crews invade the room and take Pollock out. The layout of the office dissolves, appearing like ocean waves that vanish as the interrogation chamber comes back into view. Dr. Leandra Pollock has admitted the incidents that led to her arrest. What's wrong with that? She didn't do it. Didn't she do it? Supposedly, I put the memory of the events in her head and, she was discharged. Jesus Christ. Why the hell would you do that? I told you, they had everything for her. They sent you as an interrogator. Your job was to get the truth. That was never my job. My job was to get the answers the powers that be wanted. Someone committed this crime, someone covered it up extremely well, and someone needed to take the blame, otherwise we all look weak. That's not. Have you ever been in one of those holding cells? Why are you asking me? Yes or no? I haven't. I bet no one employed by the Foundation has spent the same amount on a containment cell as some of the anomalies they've locked up there. Even with the treats we're given to keep us sane, it's draconian. For me, it was in an 8x8 box, with a crib that it was too big for. What did I get to keep me sane? A cracked TV with 3 news channels, 3 crossword puzzle books, human interaction with guards for about 3 minutes in total per day, and a record player with no music. All my requested records were on backorder. I didn't know anything about this. That wasn't even the worst part. My reality anchor was connected to the same switch that controls the light in my room. I begged and begged for those poisonous, blinding, whirring lights to be turned off for just an hour so I could sleep. They refused for fear of it exploding. I'm sorry, but I wasn't going back there. There is nothing that will make me go back there. Armed security personnel surround Eric, ordering him to lie on the floor with his limbs open. Eric creaks his neck, the security personnel's weapons disappear. The sector is closed. Look at a nearby security camera. I'm going to let these men go. After that, I'd like to talk to Director Legge. He's a softie for anomalies, fortunately for me. We came to an understanding. And you landed here. I did it. I was allowed to create a comfortable environment for myself before this albatross hung around my neck. Ramsey slaps his neck. Now, I get entertainment shipments every month, I restock food every week, and peace and quiet. The stress of being locked up forever is gone. You're still locked up. It's a matter of perspective. This is a house that I built with my own mind, made for my comfort and just for me. You'll have to go back to that car for a few hours, then on that plane for even longer, and then you'll go back to that place, where you'll work for a minimum of 10 hours before going to your bedroom, in that same place, before waking up the next day and doing it all over again. Can't you say that I empathize with you? Eric touches his neck again. I've never liked what we do with anomalies. It's one of those things that you have to be aware of and at the same time know that it's wrong. So work within the system without changing it. I tried to explain it, not to justify it. You know, during the year I was employed. Integrated, and the previous months, when I was in my cell, I never met someone who was as outspoken as you. The main goal of the director of our site is what you expect. It's the same containment in a new way. If you wanted to, you could leave today and come home forever. If I tried that when I was integrated, I'd be locked up again. Paul doesn't care about me or any other anomaly, he cares about the optics. How is he able to make everyone see him as the moral director of the site? Only he can work with anomalies and, in turn, make them work for the Foundation. The attention you can get from that is astronomical. I don't let my opinions affect the place that puts food on my table. It's good to have morals. You're a diamond in the rough, you might say. I'm just another cog in the machine. I told you, opinions like that are a rarity. It doesn't mean anything. How is that? Empty words. I still work for them. It doesn't mean anything. No, I don't think so. I think you know it means more than anything. Much more. Right? Considering the totality of this conversation, I think this means a lot to you. Ambrose is silent. After a pause, he takes his drink and drinks it. He takes a sharp swig of bourbon, drinking it again. I think this means a lot more than I can say, with or without this necklace. Next, Ambrose shows him a file of one, Kenneth Wilkins, a member of the Department of Dimensional Studies, who with the researcher Ambrose, are investigating a process to facilitate transdimensional travel. With the Foundation's current capabilities, traveling to alternate and parallel dimensions requires excessive and unmanageable use of energy or a pre-existing transdimensional pathway that is opened by an anomalous force. Looks interesting. It is. It was a lot of fun at first. I really didn't know Kenny too well before this. I think we joined the Foundation the same year, but that was it. It turned out that we both had nothing to do and had an interest in alternative dimensions. We get along pretty well, all things considered. Researcher Wilkins is sitting, watching a report on roads from the Traveler's Library. Researcher Ambrose is sitting across the room in his lab, scribbling equations on a page. Within the SCP Foundation, pathways are mysterious portals, or bridges, that link different locations, realities, and dimensions within the multiverse. Acting as gateways to other worlds, they can appear in everyday places and be activated through rituals, magical incantations, or constructed by skilled reality manipulators and thaumaturges, or magic practitioners. To put it simply, the vias are hidden or arcane portals that are accessed through rituals, magic, or spatial manipulation, which offer shortcuts through realities, similar to walking through a door. Wilkins, has anyone seen a way open? For the Traveler's Library? Those are thousands of years old. We have some millennial people wandering around here. There is no way we can talk to them, ignoring the fact that they are not even on the site. Wilkins approaches Ambrose and gently places his hand on his back, rubbing Ambrose in a circular motion. What's the matter? I'm stressed out. What is 3 weeks? 19 days. Technically. He smiles. Great. 19 days of nothing. We have 1 year. Maybe 2 if we get down on our knees and beg. Yeah, I bet we made it. What a disappointment. I guess I'm the only one who enjoys our long, exclusive, and lonely time together. Did I imply that? Just reading between the lines. You're reading it wrong. Look, we'll figure something out. Somehow and in some way. Wilkins kisses Ambrose's cheek and returns to his seat. They're getting along, huh? Yes, yes. We get along well. It doesn't really surprise me, at least before I got this jewel, but I'm always, I guess you could say, intrigued by smart people doing smart things. You can show me a motherboard, explain how it works, explain what it does, and explain how each component helps with that, and I would completely understand, but if you ask me how someone came up with that, I'd be lost. So, how did you discover transdimensional travel? Interestingly, the answer was in the tracks. Wilkins and Ambrose are presenting their findings to the Board of Supervisors. Now, this slippery-looking thing is a via. As most of you probably know, roads are doors to the Traveler's Library. Although anomalous, the vias fall specifically under the umbrella of thaumaturgy, which had led our contemporaries to ignore them as impossible to replicate. Now, with our current findings, we have managed to synthesize the material used to create vias. Ambrose turns on an extractor hood. A beaker of rainbow-tinted metallic liquid spills out from under the hood. As it hardens, it acquires its appearance of an oil stain. Before this presentation, I placed an object in the dimension to which this path leads. Ambrose gets in the way, pulling out a green apple. It was a convincing presentation, enough to get us to work a little more in the budget department and some researchers to work with us. Has your couple's time been ruined? At this point, I had actually moved out of my dorm room and into his house. My sister said I was too fast, but sometimes you just know it. I see. What I don't understand is how you go from what I assume is an empty pocket dimension to a transdimensional journey. As stupid as it may seem, everything is magic. Wilkins and Ambrose are presenting their findings to the Board of Supervisors. On a technical level, the library pathways are programmed to enter the library and exit to the desired location based on a frequency. Each universe emits its own frequency, and each location within that universe has its own frequency all the way. The problem is simply channeling it. This is something that is like breathing for librarians, but for us it requires a lot more adjustment and failures before we get something viable. Ambrose retrieves a second beaker from the liquid, takes a brush and paints a door-sized via on the wall below the extractor hood. He takes a knife out of his pocket and whispers to her in an unknown language. It radiates a purple glow when Ambrose cuts his hand, rubbing the blood on the palm and fingers. He holds her hand close to the track, struggling to keep her close. He gasps as 7 bright strands of purple energy sprout from the cut and adhere to the edges of the track. Close your eyes and, with the other hand, gently push, pull and twist the strings. Behind the supervisors, a crack in reality begins to form. Ambrose pulls the last ivy and a second via appears, shaking the room. Wilkins enters by the original way, leaving behind the council. The couple leaves the meeting in silence, walking down the hallway. Smiles are growing on the faces of both of them. They enter the elevator, where they witness how they celebrate and hug. Wilkins grabs the back of Ambrose's head and happily yells in his face. The couple kiss. That's amazing. It was, but it still wasn't a transdimensional journey. It was a way on Earth. Ambrose drinks a third glass of bourbon. He pours himself another. We needed transdimensional travel. In essence, it's reasonably easy, just take a different main frequency and compile from there. The problem? Infinite dimensions. Infinite frequencies. It would take me a lifetime to sift through everything available to find just one specific dimension, let alone what the supervisors were asking about. This was going to be part of their early warning system. They needed almost exact replicas of our universe. Exact replicas are easy to find, just tune the frequency up or down 1 micrometer. Eventually we found one. Just one. I ask again, the problem? An autonomous drone flies off a track. The couple is disheveled, clearly sleepless. The early dawn light illuminates the room. It looks solid. Ambrose takes note of the frequency. Solid? That looks perfect. Wilkins moves to hug Ambrose, who barely reciprocates. How you maintain this energy is beyond me. What's the matter? I'm exhausted. Preaching to the choir. I think we should finish it here and go home. I'll request a hazmat team to explore the area first of all. Now? Now? Are you crazy? Maybe not quite, but I'm sure I'll get there. We have to get in. Are you crazy? Wilkins smiles at Ambrose, who tries to hide his smile behind one hand while scribbling notes on a notepad. When Fleming found penicillin, imagine he waited for a hazmat team before investigating it himself. Technically, he told other people about it before he did something stupid, like what you want to do with this portal. Once, we'll be done after that. Look at me, I love you. You know that. But, this is work. This is my job and I take it seriously. Do you think I'm not taking this seriously? That's not what I'm saying. This is our job. Our work has rules and procedures that we have to follow. Regardless of what is happening in our personal life, you cannot use my love for you to do something that is wrong. I'll come in. I'm not throwing this away. He was a hardhead. I wouldn't call it that. He liked risks, I didn't. You're not throwing it away. We are at the forefront of some of the best research ever done on this topic, and we wish that the first person to enter a man-made transdimensional portal would be an unnamed ex-serviceman. No way. Damn it. You're out of your mind. We deserve credit. We'll make it. Name a NASA scientist who worked on the Apollo project. You know what, I'll just close it. Don't even dare. Wilkins walks towards the track, putting his hand in it. Look. I'm fine. I'm not watching this. I'll see you at home. Calm down for God's sake. And I left. Those were the last words I know he heard from my mouth. Did he enter completely? The dimension was an alternate Earth, almost what we were looking for. The biggest difference? The air had a parasitic, microscopic, airborne organism living in it. Billions, if not billions of them. Humans, animals, everything evolved to live symbiotically with him. I walked into my lab that morning to the hazmat team I called the night before. They were removing his body and fumigating the entire sector. Jesus. I told him so. I did it. I promise. Ambrose takes another glass of bourbon. Eric grabs the bottle from her as she tries to pour it. I promise I told him that. Leg, I understand how you feel. No. I really don't think you will. It's not safe, Ambrose. He is not well, and everything is happening very fast. Ambrose has eyes full of tears. I'm not good at this, I'm really sorry. I can't imagine what you're going through right now. However, you have to look at this objectively. He entered untested waters and contracted a completely unknown disease. The amount of protection nurses have to use is amazing. He could kill you if you see him. I need to see him. I'm really sorry. Ambrose starts crying. We were so close to finishing. Why did I let this happen? Oh, my God. I should have stayed. Why? Why didn't I stay? You can't blame yourself. Please, please, Paul. Please let me see it with my own eyes. Just once. I can't, I really, really can't. They wouldn't let me see him. That's very difficult. I don't think I've ever wanted anything more. I understand why they didn't leave you, as cruel as it is. How horrible. It wasn't safe. That's all they were telling me. He was contagious and he was dying. I would see him then, but they didn't know when that would be. That's not enough. Still, it wasn't safe. An avenue is opened in the office of Paul Legge. Ambrose comes out, wielding a crowbar. He finds a locked drawer in Legge's desk. Coining the lever, he opens the drawer and retrieves Legge's spare card and a pistol. Legge came home every night around 2 in the morning, so that was pretty easy. I knew the security guys had a smoke break at 2:45 every night. Kenny and I used to take breaks with them during those longer nights. It was about 5 minutes, but it was enough time. Another way is opened in the site's surveillance console. Ambrose exits, scans Legge's credentials and gets administrator privileges on the system. He examines the images from the cameras and finally finds the medical bay. He locates a room marked as occupied but unguarded, assuming it houses Wilkins. Ambrose deactivates the medical bay camera before exiting the console and closing the via. There were no cameras in his room. I don't know why they didn't have cameras in their room. What happened next? I had turned off the rest of the cameras, but I left the access card and I guess there was an alert that the cameras were turned off. The site was closed. I wanted a video of our last time together. I just wanted to be able to see his face. Ambrose has eyes full of tears. We were so busy with work, we never took a picture together. How did we not take a picture together? How is that possible? Weeks passed without seeing him. I was forgetting his face, his beautiful smile. I remembered the feelings I felt when I saw him, like the way he laughed when he had that twitch in his eye when he was stressed. I just couldn't remember his face. You lose him so quickly after being apart for so long. I just wanted something to look at to remember him by. Something that was us. So, I went back to my lab and grabbed a body camera. I just wanted a video of us hugging. Immortalized that way. I wouldn't have to see him again. Ambrose is breathing heavily, sounding like he's holding back tears. She pulls the last purple strand that extends from her hand. He takes a deep breath and steps onto the track, exiting into a medical room. Kenny. At the far left of the room there is a white bed. A sheet covers a mass placed on it. Several medical devices, including intravenous therapy machines, ventilators and heart rate monitors, emit loud beeps and hums. Kenny? Are you? It was empty. There was nothing there that would make me believe it was as contagious as I was told. Nothing. Nothing at all. Continue. Ambrose approaches the bed and removes the sheet. The body is Kenneth Wilkins. He is extremely emaciated, with little or no fat or muscle to see on his body. The skin looks more like cracked and peeling porcelain than flesh, which gives Wilkins a doll-like appearance. His eyes are open, unblinking, and tinged with green and cloudy. A mass is seen twisting in his stomach. Ambrose falls to the ground, crying. Was he alive? Tears are streaming down Ambrose's face. I may have stood there crying for seconds or years. I couldn't say. The only thing that set me off was an alarm. A containment breach alarm sounds in the medical bay. A single security officer enters the room. Ambrose. Leave the room with your hands up. Why does he look like this? Get out of the room. Listen to me. I don't want to hurt you. Are you keeping him alive? You have 10 seconds to leave the room. Are all these machines keeping him alive like this? Ambrose, please, more of my team are coming and they are not going to be so nice. Get out of the room. Answer my damn question. Are all these machines keeping him alive? It's not our choice. Are you keeping him alive like that? Please leave the room. We'll get you amnestics. Ambrose shoots the guard in the chest, who falls limp to the ground. He walks around the room in hysterics, breaking down quickly and crying. The body camera is removed and thrown to the ground. He vomits on the floor and then approaches Wilkins' body. An inaudible dialogue is heard. The camera sees Ambrose leaning over Wilkins. She's crying audibly. Another shot is heard. Ambrose grabs the body camera and the bullet casings, and leaves the room. Ambrose is standing over the sink gagging. SCP-8596 places a hand on his shoulder. He's crying. What did I do? What did I do? Did you put him out of his misery? Ambrose cries silently. Take a deep breath. I had to do it. I had to do it. Continue. I couldn't leave it like that, I couldn't. Eric aims at Ambrose's face, guiding him to eye contact. Look at me. Concentrate. What's next? I had to do it. I had to do it. I promise. I promise I had to do it. Please. I'm sorry. I had to do it. Ambrose rubs his hands through his hair. I opened another way. I opened up the lane we had put the block on during the, oh God. Ambrose collapses. Focus. Focus on my face. And I grabbed the bed and put Kenny there, with the guard and the camera, and left them there, in that cold, empty place. Ambrose breaks down even more, crying in the sink. Eric Ramsey unbuttons his necklace and takes it off. What? The walls of the house begin to ripple like the waves of the ocean. What's happening? The facade of the house is fading. An interrogation chamber is revealed. SCP-8596 looks at a security camera and nods. Security teams invade the room and take Ambrose out. Plague enters the room as they are leaving. Incredible. Absolutely amazing. Thank you. Eric gives the necklace to Plague. That was a lot faster than I thought it would be. I watched maybe 2,000 tapes about this guy. I was hoping it would be shorter. And the story about the investigator you falsely convicted, chef's kiss. The ethics committee will be very happy that we don't have to go to trial here. You hired me for a reason. Delete that description of mine in the prop document. I don't want anyone to read this. Consider it done. A month of isolation, and he still didn't say a word. Great job, Eric. I'll take care of the rest of the paperwork. Eric is heading towards the exit. Be my guest. Just update the 8596 file. In the closure section of SCP-8596, the containment class is upgraded from secure to neutralized, meaning that the anomaly no longer poses an ongoing anomalous threat to the SCP Foundation. The update finally reveals that 8596 was actually the body of researcher Kenneth Wilkins, who had become infected with a reality-altering parasite while exploring an alternate Earth. The Foundation opted to keep Wilkins alive artificially for the investigation until his death could be processed. Currently, the false narrative implemented by the Foundation implies that Wilkins was infected with an airborne parasite that quickly devastated his body. The medical staff consulted with the Ethics Committee and the Board of Supervisors, determining that the research potential of this pathogen outweighed allowing Wilkins to die. As such, his body was kept alive artificially until the investigation was completed, at which point he would be discharged. SCP-8596 was neutralized by a rogue Site-322 staff member who suffered a mental breakdown following a personal issue related to the case with 8596. 8596 was shot in the forehead with a pistol along with the security officer who tried to arrest him. The rogue agent, Jorg Ambrose, has been interrogated and confessed to the murder of Kenneth Wilkins and the security guard. For these crimes, along with breaking and entering, theft of credentials, unauthorized use of thaumaturgy, misuse of Foundation resources and participation in an unapproved employment relationship, Ambrose has been imprisoned at Site-06 and is awaiting termination. Fundamentally, the last lines show how Eric Ramsey manipulates the narrative. He instructs the senior staff to remove references to himself from the file, stating, "Remove that description of me in the proposal document, consider it done." This indicates that the Foundation voluntarily covered up Ramsey's participation, perpetuating his anonymity to maintain institutional control and avoid scandal. The history of SCP-8596 offers a harrowing tale of moral erosion within the SCP Foundation. What begins as an interrogation by a powerful reality manipulator ends in betrayal, false memories, and forced complicity. The label of neutralized disguises the grim human cost, the slow disappearance of Wilkins and the eventual collapse and murder of Ambrose. The Foundation's deliberate suppression of Ramsey's role reveals a chilling truth: sometimes the biggest anomalies are not the contained entities, but the hidden secrets.